counting down has started. Only 2 hours, well, a little bit more, and then Flight Simulator 2024 will be available. In this video, we're going to look at some compatibility issues, and then specifically focusing on major vendors which are releasing a lot of stuff for Flight Simulator 2020, and hopefully also soon for Flight Simulator 2024. But let's first roll the intro, and then let's look at the details. And we start with my personal favorite, the A380X from FlyByWire. This aircraft is pretty new, right? Also for those who are still on Flight Simulator 2020, but I would say they are looking at making it available for the Flight Simulator 2024. But there are some things which you need to keep in mind, because there is some significant effort due to difference in system requirements and optimizations needed for the 3D model. And they're looking at a transition which is as smooth as possible, but they estimate that it can take a few weeks or months depending on the required changes before it is available. Now, of course, you can always try it, right? You can always try to move it manually to the community folder. That's something which we're gonna look at in the live stream, so have a look at that. And I would say that could be one of the options, but then you could experience some issues, so be aware of that. Then the next one. It's PMDG, right? So PMDG, they released a statement, and that it's the PMDG boss, right? Robert Randazzo, and he posted a nice wall of text on their fora, right? So he says, okay, hey, it's going to be magnificent, but patience maybe is a word to the wise. So here you can also see that there are some cautions about, okay, hey, should we really, say, make our products directly available? Of course, they want to do it, right? So what's the current state? So first of all, the PMDG dev team is running 2024, which is already good because they can start testing, figure out issues, figure out how to fix those issues. But of course, that will take time. And that also brings in something other important, right? Because they still want to continue to support Flight Simulator 2020 simmers, because there will likely be several people who will stay on the previous version of the sim due to many reasons. So what will work in Flight Simulator 2024 from today onwards if you already have existing PMDG products? Well, first of all, you need to understand that there are two ways to, say, release these products. One is via the marketplace, and the other one is that you can buy directly from PMDG. So if you bought it directly from PMDG, it becomes a little bit easier. And the reason for that is that you can copy over those items from the community folder of Flight Simulator 2020 to the new one for Flight Simulator 2024. For those who bought products in the marketplace, it likely will become a little bit more difficult, although they say that they will release some stuff. They also say, hey, based on number of queries from Microsoft related to small issues in the 737 line that they have asked us, right? So that's something which they are looking into, but it's a little bit unclear if they're gonna really release all that stuff for Flight Simulator 2020 as we speak. But let's see, or 2024, right? You see, I still need to get adjusted to it. Then what does Microsoft say about it? Well, Microsoft of course says that if you can move it from the one community folder to the other one, it likely will work, but again, you might hit some compatibility issues, so be aware of that. In the meantime, PMDG will release the Operations Center 3.0, which will be able to handle the installation automatically, because that manual process is something you can do, of course, but it might not make it that friendly. So some products will be compatible, others will be native, right? That's confusing. So if you look at the three categories which PMDG will release, is they've got the Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020 only products. Those are only compatible with Microsoft Flight Simulator, and they cannot be loaded in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024. And they say they do not have any products that we feel will wind up in this category as of today's evaluation. So that's good. Then we've got the second category, which is Flight Simulator 2024 and 2020 compatible. So those are built in Flight Simulator 2020. But it happens to run just fine in Flight Simulator 2024 without any changes. They feel that all of our existing products, which means their products, will fit into this category as of today's evaluation, right? Keep in mind that they did have a lot of time to evaluate based on my understanding, but they say, okay, it's okay. Then we've got a new category, which is the Flight Simulator 2024 only category. So these will be products which are developed and released specifically using the Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024 SDK. And you can only use them in Flight Simulator 2024. Currently, the 747-400 as well as the 747 Classic wheel are in this category, so you can't play them in Flight Simulator 2020. So keep that in mind. The next in line is FSLTL, right? Those are the developers behind the freeware AI traffic injector, which will ingest a lot of traffic, which will make flying a lot more realistic. But they have released a statement about the compatibility issues which you might encounter with Flight Simulator 2024. The first thing is that it is a little bit harder for them to test because currently their product is not listed in the marketplace. And they also don't or do not have access to Flight Simulator 2024 before it's released. Therefore, until 2024 is released, the team won't know how well it will work, right? So that's something which you need to keep in mind. So can you install it? Well, since it's again, I would say, added to the community folder, you can do it. But as you can see, already several people outside of the development team reached out to them and say, hey, there are issues. It doesn't work that great, so issues such as the simulator attempting to place all aircraft in one parking spot, the AI controller issues, sound issues, and more are present. So be careful with this one because it likely will not work 100% okay with Flight Simulator 2024. The next developer is A2A team, right? So they also shared an update recently via one of their Discord channels on the Discord server. So what they say is that they had access to the Flight Simulator development alpha for the past month, and based on their testing, the ATA's only currently available aircraft, the Comanche 250, is functioning properly in the simulator. So if you bought this one, then you can safely install it and safely enjoy it in Flight Simulator 2024, which is of course good news for everybody. ORBX, right? They're, I would say, a large contributor for Flight Simulator 2024, as we heard during multiple developer streams. But what about their own products, right? Did they, I would say, are they compatible? Are they not compatible? So let's have a look at that, right? There is some uncertainty about the add-on compatibility. And also that's why several of these developers release statements, including ORBX. So ORBX provided a forum post where they specifically mentioned something. So let's open that one. So this is the one which I was talking about, right? They expect a smooth transition for most of their products. It may take some time to go to them all, right? Because they have a large, I would say, library of products which they released. They need to test everything manually, likely. They will prioritize the most recent and popular ones. So if there's a product which is very popular, it will get a lot of attention. If it's recently released, it also gets a lot of attention. In instances where we upgrade products to take advantage of the Flight Simulator 2024 features, and you should think of, for example, aircrafts, right, where you can walk around the aircraft or also check the oil level, check the stocks, or I would say the gears, the wheels, etc. Then they could ask you for a small upgrade fee, and our partners and indies will follow the same pattern, because ORBX is not only releasing tools themselves, they also have a lot of partners and indies which they're working with. So keep that in mind. Then switching the gears and moving to LatinVFR. So what's their current forecast, right? So the good thing is that they already had access to that developer alpha for a lot of time. And that will, of course, give them some time to make sure that the products were capable or compatible with Flight Simulator 2024. And that's also what they say, is that their aircraft and airport products will be fully compatible with platform day one, which is good. In addition to that, also, if you bought the product for Flight Simulator 2020, you will receive it also for 2024 without additional cost. Granted that they are available in the Flight Simulator 2024 marketplace. And this is, I would say, the culprit, right? Because we heard some news about the marketplace. Likely it will be, I would say, kind of not available or partially available during the initial release. But in the coming weeks, there will become some changes. Despite this, right, there are some products such as the AREX and the global vehicle traffic that would require further adjustment from Microsoft and Asobo to achieve full day one compatibility. So keep in mind that these two products might not work well. That is a little bit in line with FSLTL, which also had some issues with it, so keep that in mind. What are the other ones? The other ones, MiltechSimulations, they are the developers behind the C-17 default aircraft in Flight Simulator 2024, which also means that they have access to that developer kit already for a longer time. So they state that all of the products for Flight Simulator 2020 will require an update to work correctly in Flight Simulator 2024. Right? They emphasize that porting add-ons from Flight Simulator 2020 will not be supported and will likely bring many bugs. So although you can move it manually from the community folder from Flight Simulator 2020 to 2024, it will likely not work, or you have, let's say, a lot of issues with it. And this is what they mean, right? So what they're saying, okay, hey, you can move it, but it's, let's say, you don't need to call us because it simply is not supported. Then we've got flight panels. So flight panels is for those who are using the Stream Deck with all those nice buttons. They will release something it's expected to roll out during the course of November. After day one release, they will release something, some new updates and a new installer, which will make their product available or compatible with Flight Simulator 2024. So initially it might not work, but they are likely fixing it before the end of November, which is already, say, almost there. Then we've got Parallel 42. They also did some testing, right? So we know them from, let's say, aircraft, but also multiple other options, such as this nice widget which you have available. And what their statement is after being absent in the flight sim wilderness for over a year, this Mr. Ed Correo of Parallel 42 shares the adversities that developers face when introducing its content to Flight Simulator 2024, right? Frustrating complications when testing. So it was not that easy if you read between the lines. So there were some new bugs and problems which they found, and which the team has now been classified as frustrating, which means it's not really good for you as a simmer to use. So what they will do is they will work with their creators and make sure that it will work perfectly. So also this one, you likely will, I would say, have a lot of issues, but keep an eye on their channel, because there will be updates to make sure that you will get a solid production level build. And they will also mention that they will release more news about this. So there's not a lot of news regarding all those fantastic products which they have created. Then we've got BeyondATC, which is a third-party AI ATC program, which implements its own AI traffic injector, just as FSLTL. They say it's compatible for Flight Simulator 2024, right? It's just around the corner. We know that Flight Simulator 2024 is around the corner, right? It's only, would say, how late is it? Well, it's less than 2 hours, and then we've got access to it. Finally, right? I can't wait for it. So they started. They also made a statement, the developer confirmed that it will be fully compatible with Flight Simulator 2024 in both the early access and experimental versions. So that's pretty, let's say, interesting to understand. Also, they say that the compatibility for their AI injector available to supporters will also be fully functional. However, it's emphasized that BeyondATC being compatible means it works in Flight Simulator 2020. They have not yet been able to take advantage of the new features provided in Flight Simulator 2024, as they were not included in development builds. And this makes me wondering, right? Is it really fully working? Because FSLTL and some other vendors have issues with it. Well, let's see. I would say if we can find some more information. So based on this, they say, okay, hey, both the teams have indicated there could be several model issues, such as sound issues, animations, missing components, and more. So they indicate that there will be some issues with it, very likely, but it requires fixes from Asobo or the respective teams. So they say, hey, our product is perfect. We need to wait on Asobo and Microsoft. So let's see. In the meantime, they're also working on updates, right? So keep an eye on their channel, and they will likely bring you some more news once there is more news available. So you can see a little bit of, say, different things, right? So some of the likely airports are mostly working. They might not benefit from all the new features in Flight Simulator 2024. Those who are injecting traffic, they will likely experience some more issues. Hence, that you will see that they will say a little bit cautious of releasing this or saying, hey, it's fully compatible. This was only a very short list where we looked at some of the developers because there are far more developers around the world. I know it, but this was the information I could find thanks to fsnews.eu, which has a huge list of it. So if you want to stay up to date about this, I definitely recommend to have a look at their website because there are a lot of things not only related to, say, compatibility things, but also about new stuff which is coming both for Flight Simulator 2020, but also for Flight Simulator 2024, or for one of the sim solutions like X-Plane or Prepare 3D. Here ends this video where we looked at the compatibility statements from multiple vendors for Flight Simulator 2024. Again, just without, let's say it's 1 hour and 45 minutes or 47 minutes, and then Flight Simulator 24 will be available for all of us. I'm really looking forward for it. If you also look forward for it, so if you look also forward for it, then enjoy flying in Flight Simulator 2024. If you first want to see how it works, right, how it looks like, then consider joining my live stream, which will start at 5 p.m. CET. So 5 p.m. CET, I will start streaming. We'll take you to the installation process, which will hopefully go really smooth. If it does not go really smooth, then I've got a challenge. And then we will look at the individual parts of Flight Simulator 2024. If you've got questions or things you want to know, you can post them in the chat over there, and then we will have a look at it. But here ends this video. I hope you liked it. If you liked it, then thanks for watching. And of course, I wish you happy flying, either if you're staying on Flight Simulator 2020 or you're moving to 2024. And I hope to see you back next time.